Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a sharp focus on, well, a deeply tragic event.
A very tragic one.
Yeah, it occurred early Sunday morning on the Gwalior Jhansi highway in Madhya Pradesh. And our mission really is to get past the headlines.
That's absolutely right. We're going to dive into the immediate facts, synthesizing reports from, high-level police officials to see what those first hours of an investigation actually look like.
Okay, so we're looking at statements from Gwalior City Police Chief Hina Khan and SP Jain.
Exactly. And by doing that, we basically get a shortcut into the authorities' mindset. What was their timeline? What did the evidence tell them right away?
And what theories did they prioritize?
Precisely.
And the core facts are just. They're devastatingly clear.
They are.
5 young men lost their lives in a collision involving their car and a tractor.
Yeah.
So we're going to unpack the scene, the victims, and critically, the immediate police focus on finding the other person involved.
So let's start with the context of the accident, because that dictates so much of what happens next.
The when and where.
The when and where. So this all happened on a Sunday morning, somewhere between 6 a.m. and 6:30 a.m.
Right, so not rush hour. This is that pre-dawn, early morning window.
A time when visibility can be really tricky, and traffic patterns are, highly variable.
That window, 6.0 to 6.30, it's often called the golden hour for fatal accidents.
Why is that?
Well, drivers might be fatigued, the rising sun can create this blinding glare, or just really confusing shadows on the road.
That makes perfect sense. And the location was on the Gwalior Jhansi highway near Malwa College. That's about, 20 kilometers from the district headquarters?
So a major highway where you'd expect higher speeds.
Exactly. And a mix of both regional and local traffic.
Now, City Police Chief Hina Khan, she confirmed the immediate response.
The boots on the ground part.
Yes. The control room gets the info, police rush to the scene, and their first job is just stabilization, verification, and figuring out the human cost.
And the physical findings told the story almost immediately. It was a collision involving an SUV, a white car.
Which was carrying 5 individuals who were reportedly on a trip together.
Right. And that car struck a sand-laden tractor trolley. And that detail, the fact that it was sand-laden, is so significant.
Oh, absolutely. It changes the entire physics of the crash. I mean, when a fast car hits a lighter object, that object moves, it gets pushed.
But when it hits something heavy, something loaded with sand...
So the tractor becomes an immovable wall, a reinforced wall.
Precisely. The sand acts as immense ballast, so the tractor doesn't give way. All that kinetic energy from the SUV just gets absorbed by the car itself.
Catastrophic.
And Chief Khan confirmed a pivotal fact here. The white car, which was traveling from the Dabra side of the highway, struck the tractor from behind.
So a rear-end collision with what is essentially a sand barrier at highway speeds in low visibility.
The outcome was tragically instantaneous. Khan confirmed that when her officers arrived, no one in the car was found alive. The scene itself spoke to the absolute force of that impact.
And that, right there, moves the police out of the emergency response phase.
Instantly. It becomes an investigation. Once the horror of the scene is documented, the focus has to pivot immediately to the victims and, the legal procedures that follow.
This is where we see that division of labor you mentioned earlier, right?
Yes. You have Chief Khan handling the immediate scene, securing it, starting the identification process.
While Superintendent Police Jain starts looking at the bigger picture, the investigative theories.
Right. And the first major challenge for Khan's team was identification. Identifying 5 young men after a crash that severe.
What did they know initially?
Well, the initial signs suggested some of the deceased belonged to the Rajawat family, who are residents of Adityapuram. But the chief was very clear that formal verification was still ongoing for all 5 victims.
The fact they couldn't confirm identities at the scene speaks to the gravity of it all.
It does, and it brings us directly to protocol.
The postmortem.
The postmortem. The bodies of all 5 victims were immediately taken to the district hospital for examination. This is just standard legal and police procedure.
And it serves 2 functions, right?
2 vital functions. First, it confirms the legal cause of death, which you absolutely need to file charges. And second, it allows for that formal, legally sound identification.
To make sure the right grieving families are notified?
Exactly. It's a difficult process, but it's a non-negotiable step toward closure and building the legal framework for whatever comes next.
So let's pivot from the victims to the active investigation, to the why of it.
And this is where we really look at SP Jain's mandate. His statements lay out the 3 main angles the police are pursuing.
And these angles tell us what they suspect happened. So let's unpack those. What's the first priority for his team?
The first, and I would argue the most crucial, is checking CCTV footage from the area.
Of course.
The physical evidence at the scene, the damage, skid marks, that tells them what happened.
But CCTV tells them how and when.
It's the independent witness. It can verify the SUV speed and, more importantly, the movement of that tractor in the moments right before the impact.
If they can sync the timing, they can see if the tractor was just, driving along steadily or if it made some kind of abrupt move.
Exactly. Which brings us to the second area of focus.
Negligence.
General negligence, yes. It's a standard but essential umbrella. Were both vehicles roadworthy? Were the drivers licensed? Were there any visibility issues like markings on the tractor, especially since it was operating in low light?
And the third angle, this seems to be the one that could establish real culpability.
It's definitely the most revealing theory they're pursuing. SP Jain explicitly said they are investigating whether the tractor trolley came onto the road from the wrong direction.
Wow. Okay, so if that's confirmed, that is a massive legal pivot point.
A massive one.
It totally changes the context of a rear-end collision. Hitting a slow vehicle is one thing, but hitting a slow, heavy tractor going against the flow of highway traffic.
In limited visibility at dawn, it's a scenario it's ripe for catastrophe. It shifts the primary negligence entirely onto the tractor operator.
Right, because if you hit something going the right way, it's often about speed. But if that object is coming at you the wrong way,
the tractor operator introduced an unprecedented hazard into a high-speed environment.
And this leads us directly to the most compelling detail from Chief Khan's reports.
The driver.
The driver of the tractor.
He was absent. The sources confirmed the individual was not found at the scene when police arrived.
So a hit and run. But, and this is a crucial insight we can get from the police statements, he was identified, right? Why is that so significant?
It's extremely important because it streamlines the entire police operation.
How so?
Well, in a typical hit and run, police might spend days, even weeks, trying to identify the vehicle, the owner, the driver.
But here?
Here, Chief Khan confirmed they already have the driver's contact number. They know who they are looking for. The investigation isn't stalled by identification. It's immediately focused on apprehension.
So they're already taking action against him based on that contact info.
Exactly. And the fact that a driver flees a fatal collision, even if he's known, it just raises immediate red flags about culpability.
Right. Maybe he was driving without a license or under the influence.
Or he was fully aware he was driving the wrong way down a highway. His immediate flight, it just reinforces that whole investigative angle of negligence.
And adds a potential charge for fleeing the scene, no matter what.
Regardless of how the crash itself is ultimately judged, yes.
Okay, so to pull all these threads together for the listener, we have a scene stabilized, 5 victims being identified through procedure, and a laser-focused investigation moving on 3 key fronts.
CCTV, general negligence, and that critical theory about the tractor traveling against the flow of traffic.
All while actively pursuing a known driver who fled the scene.
That summarizes the picture perfectly. It's a fast, comprehensive response, and it's all facilitated by that early identification of the fleeing driver. The immediate goal is to use technology to verify the tractor's exact movement in that critical, low-light window.
And this leaves us with a final thought, really, built on the facts of this tragic deep dive. You have the victims on a trip, maybe unfamiliar with this specific stretch of highway.
And you have the tractor. Slow, heavy, and potentially moving in the wrong direction at dawn. The dynamic was lethal.
So the question that remains is, what will the CCTV show? And what will the driver say once he's apprehended? What was his justification for his path? That's what will ultimately define the difference between a tragic accident and criminal negligence.
And it raises a bigger question, too, about highway safety and the risk of mixing slow local farm traffic with high-speed commuter routes, especially during the most challenging hours of the day.
A complex and tragic investigation that is clearly moving with rapid focus.